Hello. Welcome to my where are we? June. Yes, it's June. June 2022 allotment video. Um, I don't know why I'm being so formal and putting the date in. It's not exactly a War and Peace serialization or anything, but it's anyway. That will help me remember when it is if ever I find this in the future. Anyway, less of that. So yes. Oh, there we go. We've got a beautiful red kite, two red kites, three red kites calling above. Well, that's pretty magical, isn't it? Look at them. They roost in a tree just over there. That tree there, the tall one on the left, is where they roost at night. So yeah, beautiful. So here's my allotment. It's all going quite beautifully. This is a lovely time of year where the days are long. It's warm. It's getting warm at night. Everything's growing like billy-o. You basically, yeah, it's difficult not to grow things well at this time of year, apart from the pests and diseases that also grow very well at this time of year, as do weeds. So anyway, but the plants go. So let's have a look. Stop the waffling. So we've got some lovely main crop potatoes here. Look at those at the moment. Super healthy. No sight of any blight or anything untoward. So they are looking spot on, looking really nice. I've got a little you can see there, damselfly. The damselfly is on the potatoes resting because I've got a pond here. I get lots of damselflies and all sorts of insects resting on different plants. So yeah, there's a lovely damselfly. Moving over, I've got my French beans. So they're doing okay. They get a bit you can see they're sort of trying to climb and then they're sort of like falling off, but they're just about okay. I've got about 9 plants there. I planted 10. Only actually probably need about 5 or 6. You get so many beans off them when they get going, so I don't really worry if the odd one or two doesn't do so well, because I'll have plenty of beans. I wouldn't know what to do with the beans even with that number. So yeah, so I've got about 7 or 8. Yeah, which is more than enough for us. And then today I've been planting out some gourds. So there's one little plant. So look at that. I've got a nice, lovely little plant. So I grew from seed. Then I put a mulch of manure around it, and I don't know if you can see, there's I do like a ridge, a circular ridge around it, which is a technique I discovered from a very lovely good friend, Kenny Higgs, who's an amazing gardener, and that's what he does. So I just copy him, and it works a treat. So when you water it, the water stays close to the roots. It doesn't sort of wash all over the place. So it's quite a nice way of doing it. Get like a puddle of water. Oh, I've got a red admiral as well. Also, don't know if you can see a red admiral under there. Red admiral, lovely. Which is all. I'll come on to it, but over here is all my plants for pollinators and wildlife. So I get quite a lot of butterflies and a lot more birds this year than ever before with all this in here. I've had blackcaps, wrens. I've got wrens are nesting, blackbirds are nesting, and blackcaps visiting, amongst other things, which is lovely. Then you can tell that we've got planes back again, so there's a plane going over. In the good old days of COVID, we never had any noise apart from the train, which had no people in it. But anyway, let's not think back to that. Here's the comfrey. Russian comfrey, fantastic for bees. I have this every year. It grows this tall. Beautiful flowers. The bees love it. I will find a suitable bee. Oh, of course, when you say bees love it, you can't see a single bee on the flipping thing, but there's one. There are lots of bees. Take my word for it. Bees love it. And then soon I will cut it down and put it into my pot of festering water, where it'll stink to high heaven, but will be a really nice fertilizer for my tomatoes, and for the things, pumpkins, gourds, anything that produces fruit type things, it's good for. So that's there as always. And then over here we've got I've got my green gauge trees. I think this one didn't do very well last year, and so it didn't have many green gauges on this year, but it's growing quite well now. I've got all sorts of things here. This cavalcade of salsify. It's all fallen over, but and it's a strange thing. It flowers in the morning and then it closes at lunchtime, like shops used to do back in the day, but not anymore. So it's a bit of an old-fashioned plant. Still thinks you close at lunchtime. I mean, one of the most, I will come on to the veg again, but the fantastic, if you've got any space in the sunshine, grow Phacelia tannicitifolia. Look at, there's an obliging bee. There are bees all over it. They absolutely love this plant, and it's beautiful as well. You can't, and it's dead easy to grow. Once you've got it, these are just seeded from last year in the sunshine, and look, there's bees all over them. Absolutely fantastic plant, dead easy, and looks amazing. And it's coming up, I've got it over here as well, it comes up through other plants. Really brilliant plant. And I've also, in amongst that, I've got some Nepeta in there, and I've got a bit of cow parsley, so all sorts of stuff. It looks really pretty, this bit, and I haven't done, I've pretty much done nothing to do with this, it's just all appeared by itself. And then here's another greengage tree. I don't think I've got any greengage. There was quite a lot of blossom, but I can't see any greengages. So another year of disappointment. But moving on from that. So over here, we've got, I have to try and get on the sunny side of things. So I've got some peas and mange too. They're not doing that well this year. It's not been very good. I tried to sow them from seed. Didn't do very well, hardly any germinated. So these are plants I put in, and some of them you can see what they should look like are these big strong leafy growths, but a lot of them aren't doing very well. But we'll get a few. And every year, I mean, I've put them in a sort of trench with some manure in there and watered them. So I've done everything that you normally do. I've got these supports as well to try and encourage them, but they still don't seem very happy this year. So for some reason, I've messed it up. It happens every year though. There's always some things do really well, some things don't do so well. It's just the way it goes, really. Well, it is with me anyway. So then I've got some lovely, so these are butternut squash. These ones have been in a couple of weeks ago. Again, I tried to put a ridge around them, but I've gone and messed up my ridge now, so I'll have to do that again. But they're looking quite well. So what happens is you sow them from seed and then plant them out, and then it takes a while. They like the warmer nights, so it's still been getting quite cool at night, so they don't grow that well until it starts to get properly warm. But now it's sort of getting towards mid-June. They'll start to crack on and grow really fast, and they'll go from this size to covering half the world in a few weeks. So yeah, so they're looking good. They're looking nice and green, so strong dark green leaves, which is good. The other one's a little bit yellowy, but pretty good. So yes, that's it. Then over here we have broad beans. So if you're an avid viewer, if you are the avid viewer of these videos, these were broad beans that I think I planted them in about October. And over the winter, the snow hit them. They were lying on the ground. They looked half dead. They just didn't look like they were going to be doing very much. But amazingly, they do. If they seem to, they just suddenly burst into life in about February, March. And so look, I've got a big I've got in there as well as strawberries. I've got some broad beans to eat tonight. Yeah, they've got, because they've grown sown early, they do avoid most of the black fly. So the aphids, so you can see there's a few aphids, but if you pinch the tips off and sow them early, you're pretty safe from black fly. You don't really get too much of a problem. So that's these. I'll show you some later sown ones and show you what can happen with black fly. So in here I've got my my brassica tent, and it's looking good. Yeah, I've got these are all sown from seed. There's a purple sprouting broccoli looking really healthy. And then I've also got some sprouts, again looking really healthy small plants. They were planted out about 2 weeks ago, the sprouts, and the purple sprouting broccoli about a month ago, looking really nice. And then over here I've got a bed of sweet corn. I also sowed some seeds of some climbing nasturtiums, so I've put those in the middle in the hope that they might trail around the soil and then start to climb up the sweet corn, because that would be nice. And then I've got some cosmos flowers here as well, some plants, so that will look very pretty. There'll be cosmos, sweet corn, nasturtiums. Yeah, I think I like the look of that. Yeah, nice. As always with sweet corn, you grow them in sort of blocks because they're wind pollinated, so that's really important. They're like a nice sunny position, which, as you can see, they've got here. And then over behind that you'll see so I've got some lovely lettuce. I've got some carrots, so I sow the carrots in. Oh, we've got my shadow. I sow the carrots in modules and then plant those out. So those are groups of about 3 or 4 carrots. Lettuce, different types of lettuce, and then you can see why I've got these big twigs over them, because the pak choi is very popular with the pigeons. Very popular with the pigeons. So I've had to try and protect them by putting these twigs over. So we'll see how that gets on. And then this is I think this is another form of pak choi, or it's an oriental vegetable anyway. And what I've done a bit wrong is I put them in May. And I think what you should do with oriental vegetables as a general rule is sow them really after the longest day, because as the days are getting longer, it triggers them to flower. You can see, to bolt, or to go to seed. So you can see there's ones that have got flowers. I think that's triggered by the day lengthening. When you get to the day starting to shorten again, sadly, that doesn't happen, is my understanding. So I will try some again, sow them beginning of July, plenty warm enough, but then they shouldn't bolt, or certainly shouldn't bolt as much. And then we have so this is the broad beans that I sowed in February, I think it was, and look, they're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Still not very many black fly. I do often think that if the plants are in a good position and they're well watered and looked after, there's less chance of the black fly coming, because the plants are strong. That may just be being fanciful and hoping that it means that I'm looking after things well. Yeah, they look really, really healthy. I'll show you. Oh, there's the train. Oh, I love the trains. Always a lovely sound. So yes, now here, this is what looks like when you do get black fly. So I've got it on about 3 plants. You can see it's quite near the top of the plant, the growth points here, and it gets quite manky. So you get a lot of aphids there, and it starts to cause, you get this sort of brown spot, and you start to get sort of mouldiness and horribleness, because that's perfect for fungal or bacterial attack. So that's why it's not so good. It's not so much the aphids, it's their secretions, let's put it like that. So I've got a couple of plants like that. I will take the tops off there. To take the tops off, you literally just come and sort of like grab something like that. So you take it off. That's probably still, that plant is probably, I'm going to take it off lower like that, take it right down so that there's not so many. Here's another one where, and that's the other one that's got some on. Oh, and as does that. So that's the worst of them, gone just as quick as that. And when you take the tops off, you get a handful of mush here, but that encourages the plants to put all their energy into beans production rather than growing too tall. And you can see, if you can see it over here, let's see if I can do my videoing. There's a ladybird there. See it, ladybird over there. There's lots of ladybirds on here, because the ladybird will lay their eggs, and the ladybirds and their larvae will munch on aphids, which is there's another one. Yeah, there's quite a few here. So again, don't just take the tops off, and then leave the ladybirds to it. That's what I do, and occasionally I lose a few plants, but by and large the vast majority are absolutely fine. So they can go on the compost heap. These can go on the compost heap, not the ladybirds. There's another lovely pumpkin. It's I can't remember which one that was. Oh yes, it's an Italian variety. I can't remember the name, of course. I've got it written down somewhere, because this was my garlic bed until this morning, when I lifted it up, and I will show you some of the results of that in a minute. I bet you, I'm like the X Factor. You're literally on the edge of your seats, wouldn't you? But here is some more garlic. This is stuff I grew in containers, so it's starting to yellow because it's nearly at the time for harvesting. So we'll see what's what on that soon. And then here we've got a lovely bed of French beans, dwarf French beans. So these are the ones that don't climb, but you can see they're starting to flower there, so there'll be beans soon. And then interplanted with some lettuce. These are lettuce that we potted on, pricked out and potted on my horticulture course. So they're now doing well in the allotment. Some more climbing nasturtiums and sweet corn, as with the other bed. Then I've got another gourd there. one of my neighbours has given me a couple of broccoli plants, so I've put one in there and one in there. And the reason I've done that is I haven't got any more space in my brassica cage. But one of the reasons the plants get attacked by cabbage white butterflies or even pigeons is because you've got a block of plants, so it's easy for them to find. So this is me trying to hide them amongst sweet corn and hoping that the pigeons and the cabbage white butterflies will not find them. We'll see how well that works. It does work quite often. We'll see. Might be okay. And there's some more lovely lettuce from college, another gourd, and some sunflowers I put at the end. I'll show you in a minute, because these are sunflowers I've nurtured every minute of the day to make them perfectly happy. And they're that big, and I'll show you the ones where I left a seed in last year over the winter and it's growing about 10 times bigger for me doing nothing to it. Anyway, there is the raspberries. So these are the autumn raspberries. So they're starting to, you can see they're starting to have flowers, so these will be fruiting in I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. They're getting nice and tall now. Do virtually nothing to them, just a mulch on them every spring, and cut the old canes down before the winter. Or do I do that after the winter? It doesn't really matter actually. Do I do that? I do that after they finish. So the beginning of winter, chop all the canes down and put a mulch on, and then they just come up again next year. And all I do is put some canes around to stop them falling over. So dead simple. Then over here, so look at that, isn't that lovely? That's my bench, and you can see all the stuff I've put there to try and attract creatures. I'll come onto the pond where you may be able to see damselflies dipping around. The water's quite nice and clean. You can see how many insects there are probably around here. There's a red damselfly. There's blue damselflies. The dragonflies will be arriving soon. Yeah, they're all flicking about, so really nice. There's a plane going over, probably BBC TV cameras or something, realising that I'm filming live and wanting to get some overhead views, I'd imagine. So yes, then over, yes, and so I've got all these nettles here which I leave, one to try and encourage caterpillars, but also it's great habitat for the damselflies. When they emerge or when they're resting, they go and hide into the nettles, hide in the nettles and just hold on to it. So it's a really safe place for them to come when they've emerged or when they want to hide. So yeah, you can see. I mean, hopefully you can see on the video. There's lots and lots of damselflies zipping about here. Then over here, I've got. I mean, the stars of the show at the moment are the foxgloves, the digitalis, and the Echium vulgare, the Viper's bugloss, which again is here for the bees. Beautiful plant, beautiful plant, biennial. So I put the small plants in last spring, and this is them flowering now, but they're beautiful. I've got some aquiledias, all sorts of stuff here. Oh, I've got those, what's it called? Are they ericiums? Can't remember. Oringiums maybe. Anyway, thistly thingy things, which are coming well, and we've still got the end of the poached eggplant. So all this is all for insects, we've got the I don't know if that's cow parsley. Let me have a sniff. I don't know what. Oh, I should know that. It's a very common plant. It's some sort of achillea maybe, or cow parsley. Anyway, it's really good for insects, and I can't remember if I sowed it or not. Probably not, but it's doing well. I've got a bit of sage there. So anyway, let's go back to vegetables. So here, some chard. I've put some tomatoes outdoors. I've got a couple of them here. Couldn't get any short canes, so I think that's probably optimistic for the final height they'll grow to. They'll probably go to about there, about halfway up. So we've got a courgette over there. I've only got one courgette because no matter how few courgette plants I do, I still have too many courgettes. So one should be okay. We should be able to keep up with that. Should be able to. And then we've got some perpetual spinach looking really nice. Always looks nice when it's watered in, it's glistening a bit. And then some beetroot here, so nice little bed there, doing really well. And then over here we've got the new potatoes, which are starting to flower, and they're beautiful. Look at the flowers on the new potatoes. Really lovely. Very, very pretty. This is a variety called, I think it's Charlotte. Yeah, Charlotte. Beautiful flowers. And then, as I mentioned earlier, a sweet corn, not a sweet corn, a sunflower that I haven't done anything to. It's the tallest plant around. That's that one. Seeded itself there, but in some compost from last year. Flipping heck. I sweat blood for these plants. They do nothing, and then the ones that I do nothing for, they grow like mad. And then over here we've got some more pumpkins I've planted out today, again with my trying to do that little sort of moat around them method. I need to keep building the walls of my moat up, but they're in a nice sunny position. They'll get going soon. Over here we've got some chives and also some garlic chives. I'm going to have a little nibble of garlic chive, don't mind if I do. Oh, yep, does what it says on the tin. Nice blue flowering garlic chives, and it's nice. I just need the flowers to come up now. That's very tasty. Oh, some oxeye daisies over in my bit over there. And then we've got onto the strawberries. So loads of strawberries coming this year, which is nice. I think I've managed to get it so that the netting is protecting them. You can see a few there. There's all sorts. It's difficult to film actually down there, but I've actually got straw over them, over the soil, to try and keep them dry if it rains. But they're looking really nice. Getting quite a few of those per day. Lovely. A few more new potatoes there, and then round here is this is the bed that's mainly poached eggplants and fennel. Fennel keeps coming up. So again, it's for insects really to have fun with, rather than me to be producing very much. And then into the greenhouse. So at the moment, looking really good. Tomatoes, gardener's delight. So I've sowed these from seed for April, beginning of May, and they're now growing really well. So the main thing now is pulling out the side shoots between the main stem and the leaf, making sure they put all their energy into growing and into producing fruit. So we've already got the first flowers are starting to appear. So that's the beginning. So they'll start to get pollinated and will start to fruit quite soon. I've got in between, I've got some nice basil, which worked really well last year. I've got some more to add in at the moment. So I've got the 6 tomato plants inside, 2 outside. That's some more basil, which I will put in when it's a little bit bigger. So I'll have tomatoes and basil all over here. And at the moment they look well. Last year I got terrible blight and they all had to be disposed of. So fingers crossed. Usually in the greenhouse they're okay. So fingers crossed. That doesn't happen again. And then my garlic. So I have terrible white rot on my allotment. So this year I tried something different. I put a layer of cardboard on top of the compost, so that to try to avoid the roots of the garlic getting into the soil, because that's what triggers off the fungal infection of the white rot. So I put compost on top of the cardboard, put the garlic cloves into the top, and I've probably got, I don't know, it is maybe 50-50. So the ones that I've got some really nice garlic. I mean, that's properly really good, lovely garlic. So I've got some there. I have got some, I don't know if you can see there, it looks a bit, so there's some white rot there. So what I'm trying to do is to dry it off completely. The ones that I've got to white rot, they don't store at all well. So I'll try to eat those as quickly as possible. But I probably can't, at the moment they're quite firm, so I'm hoping if I just dry them off, blitz them in the greenhouse with hot dry air, that will stop the white, because it's a white rot, it's a fungus, so it probably doesn't like hot dry air. So I'm hoping, you can see this one, that was a really bad one. Look at that one. I'm not sure that one's much point in trying that. I'm gonna get rid of that. So basically you have to put it in, you have to either incinerate it, which is difficult these days, or put it in municipal waste or something where it's going to go away and be blasted with with general composting heat or something to kill the spores, because it's a nasty thing. But I've done, it's actually not done. You know, I've got some quite nice garlic here, so it's certainly better than when I didn't try the cardboard. I might try that again, because it seems to have given me at least 50% success, which is, you know, pretty good actually, pretty good. So I'm quite happy with that. So anyway, that's a quick. I always take about the same amount of time, which is quite strange, isn't it? I sort of wander about waffling vaguely about things, and it always seems to take me the same amount of time. I don't know what that means. No idea what it means. So yeah, so there we go. So let's have a little pan. Let's do some proper filming. Now we've got strawberries, potatoes, chard and peas. I think I worked out that I'm growing about 23 different crops, which is interesting and good. Lots of variety. Raspberries, corn, beans, lettuces, pumpkins, sunflowers, nasturtiums, garlic, more pumpkins, broad beans, red, purple sprouting broccoli, sprouts, sweet corn, lettuces over there, more pumpkins, broad beans, potatoes, French beans, rhubarb, which I didn't mention. So yeah, lots of stuff here. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little romp along the allotment, and I hope you're sitting somewhere nice watching this with a cup of tea or a glass of wine and enjoying it. Anyway, off I go. See you then. Bye.